What's going on, folks? It is another episode of the TBloom Talk Show. Welcome back. Today we're going to go over all the Week 5 news, garbage, jibble jabbles. I'll give you my predictions for the games, of course, and I'll give you my breakdown, my analysis of exactly what's going on so far in the league. Now, I kind of wanted to start out this podcast today, this show, by saying I was wrong. I was wrong. And I wasn't wrong in the sense of I should have never been doing this, or I shouldn't have felt this way, or anything like that. But I was wrong that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to be good this year. And I was wrong to think that maybe, although we had a shaky young offense, I was wrong to think that we could put together something that could be remarkable. Could put us on the map, potentially. Could at least lead us to a playoff berth. Because we can't. Or we shouldn't. If we keep playing like we are right now, there's no way we're going to make the playoffs, and there's no way we're going to be even middle of the league, and there's a good chance we're going to have a high draft pick. Now, I'm not giving up. Don't get me wrong here. I'm the last guy to give up. You see me showing up every day, every podcast in my Steeler attire. I got the Steelers on the back wall. I'm not giving up by any means. I'm just, for the first time in my life, seeing the Steelers bad and not performing. And it sucks. It sucks. I'm going to keep having faith. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep rooting and cheering and screaming and getting hyped up before the game and thinking we got a chance to win every single game no matter what. But I was just wrong. I was completely wrong about this team. And for the first time in my Steeler career, I'm facing something I've never faced before. And I kind of knew it was coming with Ben retiring at the end of the year. I've only known Ben to be my quarterback. I guess Tommy Maddox back in 2004, but I was really young then. This is a change of pace. That's something us Steeler fans, a lot of us Steeler fans in our, mid-20s, early 20s, hell, even late 20s, we're not accustomed to feeling. We are not accustomed to this feeling. So I just wanted to share that, bridge the gap a little bit between me and my non-Steeler TBloomanites out there. I wanted to let you guys know I know. However, when it comes down to it, you Steeler fans that are out there, I'm not even going to watch the game. We're going to get blown out. Pussy. Bullshit. That's bullshit. As a fan, it is your duty. It is your utmost responsibility to show up for your team every goddamn Sunday and root for them and cheer them on like they can be a Super Bowl champ. This is the time it means to be a fan, a real fan, when the chips are stacked against you. When your team could possibly be the worst team in the league. This is the time where your fanship truly shows. Are you going to be there? Are you still going to go to the store with that Steeler sweatshirt on? Or are you going to take it off because you're embarrassed? Even though there's nothing to be embarrassed about, we have the most Super Bowls in the league. Tied with the Patriots. You think Patriot fans were not showing up in their Patriot gear the year they had Cam Newton? No. Fuck no. So all you Steeler fans are out there, oh, we suck. I hate the Steelers. No. You're not a fan. You're lame. This is what really is going to test your fanship. And trust me, I'm going to be here all fucking year long. So, with that being said, I take a step off of my soapbox for the day, and we're going to get right into the Week 5 matchups. Started off with the 49ers versus, I'm going to rip all these pages out as we go, because that's just the TBloom style that we're doing today. 49ers versus the Atlanta Falcons. 49ers started off. They got the number one rushing defense in the league. Number one rushing defense in the league. They're going against the fourth best rushing team in the league in terms of yards per game at 164.6 for the Atlanta Falcons. So Atlanta's going to struggle a little bit to get their offense going because the defense of the 49ers is going to shut down the run. That's a good thing for the Niners. However, where was I going with this? I wasn't going anywhere. Number 8, the 49ers are number 8 in the rushing yards per game. However, they do have a banged-up defense. I mean, Eric Armstead's officially out. Javon Kinlaw's out. Bosa's questionable. Not to mention on their O-line, you got Trent Williams questionable, or Trent Williams is out, actually. Aaron Banks, the left guard, is questionable for the Niners. So a lot of injuries over there on the 49ers side. But I don't think that's really going to matter because the Atlanta Falcons have the 4th worst passing defense in the league. So I think Jimmy G is going to really have to step it up and air it out, which he can. He can. We've seen that in years past. Obviously, he struggles sometimes with games against certain opponents. I mean, he did struggle this year against the Denver Broncos, but the Denver Broncos arguably have the best passing defense in the league. The Denver Broncos defense is the only reason why the Denver Broncos have any wins under their belt. So you can't really knock them too much for that. So I think the 49ers will roll with this one. The 45.5 is the over-under. We'll take the over. I can see some points being scored here. Although the Atlanta Falcons are the 3rd worst passing team in the league in terms of yardage, yeah, I can still see the over. I think the Niners roll tough in this one. Look for them to put up points. Look for Jimmy G to maybe have a 250-yard plus performance because they're going to need it. Because like I said, they got a banged-up O-line. They got a banged-up D-line. So we'll see what happens. On the other side, Kyle Pitts has a hamstring issue. We don't know if he's going to play yet. But Mikael Walker, their number 1 leader in tackles for the Atlanta Falcons, is also out. So I think this is a no-brainer. We're going to go the 49ers on the road. Next game, Patriots versus the Browns. Now, I can't remember the last time the Patriots were an underdog to the Browns, considering the whole Belichick era and this and that. I get it. Makes sense. The Browns are a lot more consistent of a team nowadays than they have been prior. But still, it's Belichick, baby. You think the Belichick's going to lose to the Browns, Stains? No way. No fucking way. I mean, let's just go through the stats right now. The Patriots give up 4.8 yards per carry. The Browns have the number one rushing offense. No, the number 1 rushing offense in the league. They have 5.3 yards per carry on average. So the Patriots could see a heavy workload from Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, which what they do all the time. All they do is run and let Jacoby Brissett make the plays that he needs to make, unless it's last week where he throws a stupid interception to the Chargers linebacker in the red zone. We won't talk about that, but the Browns are going to do what the Browns do best, which is run the ball, and the Patriots struggle to run the ball. However, on the other side, the Patriots have the 9th best rushing offense in the league at 4.8 yards per carry. And the Browns have the 5th worst rushing defense in the league with 5.3 yards per carry on average against opponents. Where does that put us? The Browns, on one hand, can run the shit out of the ball. The Patriots, on one hand, can run the shit out of the ball. The Browns can't stop the run, and the Patriots can't fucking stop the run. So there's going to be a lot of running in this game, right? I mean, you got to think that. You got to think that way. So I can see this being a low-scoring game. The over is 43. We're going to take the under on that. This is what gets me to believe that the Patriots will win the game. They're better coached. Obviously, they have the best coach ever. Belichick is on a 4-game win streak against the Browns. He's 8-2 overall, and I think there's something to be said about a coach who can just dominate a franchise. And I think Bill Belichick is going to move to 9-2. We're going to take the Patriots on the road here. They do have a little bit of a beat-up offense. Mac Jones is questionable. Damian Harris is questionable. Jacoby Myers is questionable. Nelson Aguilar is questionable. And their center, David Andrews, is also questionable. Now, obviously, they're not all going to be out. There's going to be some out, some in. Hell, maybe they'll all play. What I'm getting at is they're banged up. They're injured. They may not be at 100%. On the other side, you got Myles Garrett, who's questionable. This just in, Jadeveon Clowney is out of the game. That's going to affect their run defense a little bit. Their D tackle, Taven Bryan, is questionable. And Denzel Ward's out. So a little bit of a struggle bus so far for the Browns in terms of the injury side. They're going to have to make some players step up and make some noise and help out this travesty of a defense almost without their main guys being in potentially. So I'm going to go ahead and go the Patriots. The under will hit. Belichick will move to 9-2. Next game. We got the Jets versus the Green Bay Packers. The Jets versus the Green Bay Packers. It's never easy to take Aaron Rodgers to lose 2 times in a row, not to mention to the Jets. So I'll come out and just say it. Packers are going to win this one. But let's run through some things. We know the Jets have a good run defense. The Jets are rolling with momentum. They've won 2 games in a row now where they had a very, very good chance to lose. Now, in terms of the Miami game, they went up on Miami early and they never had a chance to lose that, but they were underdogs nonetheless in that game. They did get a little bit lucky with Teddy Bridgewater going out, but they handled it, ended up scoring 40 points on them. You don't do that without having at least a decent team, regardless of what QB you're going against. On the other hand, and they put up 5 rushing TDs last week. Just last week, they put up 5 rushing TDs. So they're rolling with momentum, to say the least. But on the other hand, you got a guy named Aaron Rodgers. And I know you guys, for some reason, a lot of you, I don't know, people on Instagram like to think that Aaron Rodgers is done or something, but he's Aaron Rodgers. He's still good. That offense isn't what it used to be. Obviously, you just lost Devontae Adams. However, it's still good. They'll be fine. Relax. They had a bad loss to the Giants. They gave up 4.8 yards per carry on the defense, which is bad considering the Giants or the Jets are they're a decent running team. I wouldn't say great running team. However, but anytime you give up almost 5 yards per carry, it doesn't matter who you're going against. That's not good. You need to clean that up. But because of the Aaron Rodgers factor, give me the fucking Aaron Rodgers-led Packers to come back, get back in the win column, get back to the United States time zone. They played in London last week. That was maybe a fluke. I don't even know why they sent the Packers and Giants to London last week. I mean, I don't think any of those teams have ever played in London. Maybe they're trying to expand. They're really trying to get some fanship out there. I don't know. Anyway, Green Bay's going to roll in. They're actually 7.5 favorites right now, which is, I don't know. I mean, maybe the Jets are just overrated. I don't know. Maybe the Jets are underrated. We'll see. But Green Bay Packers on the road. Next, let's go through the injuries. David Bakhtiari is also questionable for the Packers. Elgton Jenkins, right tackle, is questionable. On the other side, the Jets have Dwayne Brown, who's questionable, their left tackle. A DN, Jermaine Johnson, who is out. And outside linebacker Quincy Williams is also questionable. So, a little bit of a shaky defense over there for the Jets. That's going to help Aaron Rodgers out the most. Hopefully, David Bakhtiari can come in and play for the Packers and seal up that left side for Aaron Rodgers. All right, next game. The Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts. On one hand, you got the 4th best defensive yards per carry average with just 3.7 yards per carry on the Jacksonville Jaguars, going up against the Indianapolis Colts, who are the 5th worst rushing team in terms of yards per carry with just 3.6 yards per carry. That's interesting considering they have one of the best running backs in the league in Jonathan Taylor. But he's been a little shaky this year. I mean, he's had the injury bug. Right now, he's dealing with an ankle injury. He didn't practice on Wednesday. He's questionable. His backup, Nyheim Hines, has a concussion. He's questionable. He did practice Wednesday, but you never know with concussions nowadays. Center Ryan Kelly has a hip injury. He's questionable. Shaquille Leonard didn't practice Wednesday. He's got a concussion. He's out the game for Indianapolis. Let's just think about what Indianapolis is. They barely beat the Denver Broncos last week. And they shouldn't have even beat the Denver Broncos last week. The Indianapolis Colts might be the most unpredictable, unreliable team you could ever have. First, they start off the year 0-2 or whatever. Then they beat the Chiefs somehow in God's green earth. Then they go back to sucking. And then they barely beat the Denver Broncos. And that's why I just can't take them. They're just too inconsistent. I cannot take the Indianapolis Colts this year. Matt Ryan looks like complete garbage. He looks like he's He looks like he's heading towards retirement already. I mean, I don't know. QB passes prime. They give up the most sacks in the league. They got a lot of potential injuries. They're at a missing defensive end. They do have a good defense, but Shaquille Leonard's already out. I mean, that's a big part of their D. And on the other hand, the Jags, they got it rolling a little bit. And I know they lost to the Texans, and they lost to the, I think they already lost to the Colts already. Maybe. No, they couldn't have. They couldn't have. I mean, obviously I'm not saying the Jags by any means are great. Because they're not. The Jags may never be great. The Jags may never win a Super Bowl. Let's be clear here. The Jags may never form a team that is good enough to win a Super Bowl, but they will form a team, and they have already formed teams who will win you some games, win you some tough division games, and I think they're going to roll in and beat Indianapolis this week. I'm going to pick the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got the young QB, T-Law, my boy. Sunshine, baby. Sunshine. He's coming in. He's rolling. They got some potential linebackers out, a little bit inconsistent, but they're not as inconsistent as the Indianapolis Colts. Zay Jones is questionable. They got 2 D linemen questionable. They got, I'm going to butcher this name, Foyesade Olakun. Definitely didn't say that right. Who's second in the team tackles. He's going to be out this game. So, I mean, it's kind of even with the injuries. Yeah, I'm going to go with the young gun, Jacksonville. T-Law, he's going to make it happen. Sunshine's going to step up. Show the old fart, Matt Ryan, just how to play the goddamn quarterback position. Boom. Next game. I'm going to rip this bitch out. Next game. Let's get it. Vikings versus the Dolphins. Now, this would have been a lot better game if even Teddy Bridgewater, if even Teddy Bridgewater would be starting. But I heard yesterday night from one of my friends that he was out. I go on ESPN today, and it says he's questionable. I don't think the Dolphins are in any position to play around with concussion protocol right now, especially with quarterbacks. So I think they'll eat this one and just start their third-string quarterback. I forget his name, but he's probably going to be starting this game if I had to make a guess. Would have been a lot better if Teddy Bridgewater was, or even Tua. It would have been a fun, exciting game. It still might be a fun, exciting game, but I think it's leaning towards the Vikings. I mean, let's just look at the matchup. The Vikings have the 9th most passing yards in the league. The Dolphins have the 5th worst passing defense in the league in terms of yardage. So you got to give the edge to the Vikings. And we know about the Dolphins passing and stuff. They're a pretty good passing team in terms of stats, but they are going to be rolling with potentially their third-string quarterback, so that's going to come down a lot more. They're not going to be out there like Tua slinging the ball, throwing it 30 times a game. Well, they might throw it 30 times a game, but it's not going to be as consistent. At least I didn't see that from the third string last week. Sue me. What do you want me to do, right? What do you want me to do? Some pros, some cons. The Vikings are on a 3-game win streak. Did you know that? Did you know the Minnesota Vikings were on a 3-game win streak right now? One of those games was in London against the Saints. Justin Jefferson, I don't know. Justin Jefferson's top 3 receiver in the league. He's going to get his for sure. Xavier Howard, on the other hand, for the Dolphins, he's out. So he's going to get his for sure. Which for you fantasy owners who have Justin Jefferson, like myself, the man has been a blessing all year. He keeps me in games when I shouldn't have any chance. Also, the Vikings, they give up a lot of yards per game. But going back to the fact that the Miami Dolphins are going to be starting their third-string quarterback potentially, I don't think that's going to come into play very much as if they were going against Tua or Teddy. So we'll see. And if Teddy plays, then yeah, that's going to be a big up for the Dolphins. And I don't think I completely switched my pick from the Vikings, but I think it's going to be a lot better of a game, obviously. But also the Dolphins give up a lot of rushing yards per game. They're on a 2-game losing streak. They haven't got rid of that bug that they've seemingly had ever since Tua's injury and stuff like that. There's a lot going on over there in the Miami Dolphins organization. And I can see them losing three games in a row. I'm going to go the Vikings. We're going to take the over 45.5. I think the Vikings put up stupid numbers, to be honest with you. Oh, actually, and Xavier Howard isn't out of the game. Sorry. He's dealing with a groin injury and plans to play. So, I mean, you take what you want. You ever had a groin injury? Try running on it. Try running on it, and then try backpedaling on it. and then try backpedaling and playing defense on the number one receiver in the league. It's not easy. I'm just going to take a wild guess and say it's not easy. So we're going with the Vikings, who look to be really healthy. There's not much injuries on their side of the ball at all. Next game, Bengals versus the Saints. The Saints are the underdogs. I'm going to tell you right now, the over 43 is going to hit. The Bengals only give up 99.6 yards rushing a game. The Saints rely a lot on their rushing yards. They get 136.2 yards per game, which is 5 yards per carry. I don't know where that ranks in the league, but that is a lot of rushing yards, and that means that they rely on their rushing game. They're not going to be able to do it this weekend against the Bengals. Bengals are going to shut them down. Depending on who starts between Jameis and Andy, it's not going to matter. The Bengals will come away with this one. The Saints allow 25.6 points per game. That's the sixth worst in the NFL. They just gave up 32 to the goddamn Seattle Seahawks, the Geno Smith-led Seahawks, which, by the way, is Geno Smith good? Like, I mean, what are we doing here? I thought we already had this guy figured out. I thought we had this guy figured out his fucking second year in the league, but he's coming in balling out? Should we readjust our opinions on fucking Geno Smith? I never thought I'd be the one to say that. Geno Smith is absolutely tearing it up right now. Considering what he was supposed to be, because none of you guys gave him a chance at all. I didn't give him a goddamn chance. He had a decent run last year when Russell Wilson was out, and decent is to say the most. Like, not better than decent. He was decent, and that was it. But Geno Smith, man, that guy is tearing it up. Who knows? But the Saints give up a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. We know what the Bengals offense can be. We know how elite and how explosive they can be. They haven't fully put it together this year like they did last year in their playoff run. But it's going to be coming anytime soon now. And when you're dealing with a ticking time bomb, it's best to stay away. That's why the Bengals are going to win this one. The injuries on their side, they got T. Higgins, who's questionable. When is that guy not questionable? I got him on my goddamn fantasy team. He's more unreliable than a fucking a Joni at a Chachi concert. You know what I mean? And he's like one of those. Hayden Hurst, who's also questionable. That's the tight end for the Bengals right there. The left tackle, Jonah Williams, is questionable. We know that O-line sucks in the Bengals, so that might come to play big if you're thinking about sacks and stuff for the Saints. On the other side, I'm not going to get into any specifics for the Saints, but they got a banged-up secondary and they got a banged-up receiving corps. Almost every single one of their receivers, with the exception of a few, I can't remember off the top of my head, are injured or questionable or have some sort of nagging injury that's going to be, a nagging injury for what it is. And they got a banged-up secondary. I can just see the Bengals tearing them up. So we're going to roll with the Bengals, and I don't say that much because obviously I'm a Steeler fan, but I'm a realist, so when it comes to Steelers. But that's a whole different topic. We'll get to them soon. Next game, the Ravens versus the Giants. Now, the Ravens and the Giants is an interesting game because the Giants are 4-1. And if you were to tell me the Giants would be 4-1 come week 5, or are we in week 6? Is this week 6 or week 5? Let me check that. We're in week 6. God damn it, week 6 of the NFL season. I'm a shit show, a shit house. Week 6, if you were to tell me that the Giants were 4-1, I'd tell you you're fucking insane and get out of my house. I'm calling the cops. But that's the fucking world we live in right now. The Ravens just came off of a bad loss, or they beat the Bengals, but before that they came off a loss where they were up 20-3 on the Bills. Not mad at all because I love seeing the Ravens lose, but they did show that they can beat the Bills because when you get up that much on the Bills and you can't hold it, something's wrong, but also something's good. Anyway, let's give it a breakdown. The Ravens averaged the 4th most points per game at 27.6. The Giants averaged the 9th least points per game at 18.6. So boom, right off the bat, if we're going by points per game, the Ravens already won. Let's keep going. The Ravens give up 5 yards per carry. The Giants average 179 yards per game rushing, the second most in the NFL. Saquon Barkley is not only back, he is better. He's better than any other running back in the league. I'd say, yeah, he's probably the best running back in the league. He can catch and he can run just as good as anyone. Well, I'm not going to jinx him, so we'll just leave it at that. Best running back in the league, going up against a team that gives up 5 yards per carry, that spells danger all over the place. I don't care how good of an offense you have. If your defense is giving up 5 yards per carry and you're playing a guy like Saquon Barkley, you're in trouble. Let's keep going. The Ravens give up the 7th most rushing yards per game at 144.6. Yikes. The Giants give up the 8th most rushing yards per game. So it's like one of those things. I mean, who's going to rush more? We know the Baltimore Ravens need to run the ball to keep their offense legit. Lamar Jackson's never going to be the quarterback to come out and throw 40 times a game and be successful. He's never going to be that. And that's okay. He knows his lane. So both these teams are going to run the ball. Who's going to be more effective? Who's going to shut who down when crunch time comes? Ooh, this is tough. I'm going to have to go the Ravens. It's hard to see the Giants beat the Ravens, and I absolutely hate the Ravens. Trust me, no one hates the Ravens more than this guy, but when you're being a realist and you're making picks for the community, for the TBloom Nation, the TBloominites out there that tune in every goddamn Friday to hear the picks, I got to bring it to you straight. The Ravens are going to win this one, and it might get ugly. The Giants are coming back from London. They could say it's a home game because they were wearing their home jerseys. Or were they? Doesn't matter. They're coming back from London. They're going to be tired. They're still fishing out the accents from their mouths. The Ravens are going to take this one. I hate to say it, but they are. And it might not be a good game. Or actually, I think it's going to be a good game. It'll be within 7. The Ravens are the favorites, but I think it'll be within 7, maybe 10, maybe a garbage time little score for the Ravens, and we'll do it. But I think the Ravens will end up making it happen. For them, they have Rashad Bateman, who's questionable with a foot injury. He remains sidelined on Friday's practice, so we'll see if he plays. If he doesn't, it really won't matter too much. The Giants, on the other hand, they got a beat-up D-line. Azeez Ojulari on defense. He's a D-end. He's questionable. Leonard Williams is questionable. They got 4 players in their secondary alone that are not playing. I know I just got off my rant about the Ravens not being the biggest passing team, but they do pass the ball sometimes. And whenever you have 4 of your secondary players out of the game, it's not likely you're going to win, and it's not likely you're going to be very successful when you're stopping an offense like the Ravens. Let me give you guys a break. I'm going to go grab something to drink real quick. While I'm gone, think about any question, any comment, anything you wanted to say to TBloom. You can email me at tannerbloom@yahoo.com. That's tannerbloom@yahoo.com. Email me anything. If you have Instagram, follow me on Instagram at T_Bloom253. That's T_Bloom253. Direct message me on there. I promise I will get back to you. If you're a Twitter-holic, any of my T-Bloomaholics are on Twitter, you can follow me at the T-Bloom Talk Show. Direct message me, at me, mention me, whatever you want to call it, at T-Bloom Talk Show Twitter. I will respond. I'll get back to you, and I'll answer the questions on my next show. I'll be back. Stay tuned. Get that done while I'm gone. All right, guys, I am back, and that's going to lead us right into the game. I have been, how can I put this? Not looking forward to talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, reports came out about 30 minutes before I was going live that the Pittsburgh Steelers will be without every single one of their starting secondary. So fucking cheers up for that. Terrell Edmonds, he's out. Levi Wallace, out. Cam Sutton, out. Minkah Fitzpatrick, out. Ahkello Witherspoon, out. 5 of our secondary is out. 5 players of our secondary are out. So, where do I even begin? So that's bad news. On the other hand, we're going up against probably the best quarterback ever. So that's promising. What else? Hey, Godfrey might not be playing. He's questionable, but he'll probably play. Russell Gage is questionable, but he'll probably play. Mike Evans, hey, maybe we can slow him down a little bit. We got the young guns in. A lot of people trying to prove it, right? A lot of these players no one's even heard of. So, I mean, they're going to come in and make a statement. You got to think. Pittsburgh Steelers football, next man up mentality. Shout out Mike Tomlin, who, by the way, I am about 2 games away from having a rant on him. But we'll leave that for another episode. What else? Kenny Pickett, second start, Didn't get any touchdowns last week, but, he's growing. Second start, maybe he'll get a touchdown, maybe. Maybe Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll see a touchdown this week. What else? Huh. Yeah, we're fucked. The Bucs are going to pretty much run us. I will, trust me, that by no means am I not going to fucking be rooting for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I already said this at the beginning of the show. You Pittsburgh Steelers fans who keep talking this shit like, it's not even worth watching the game, dude. It's not even worth. This is what being a fucking fan's about, is being there for your team when they're not the best, when you don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback on your side at all fucking times. This is what it means to be a fan. So you guys who are out there with the fucking piss-poor attitude about the Pittsburgh Steelers, go fuck off. Go fuck yourself. Because there's no room on this bandwagon when we finally get good for your ass to jump back on when it's convenient for your fanship. So I'm going to be rolling, waving my goddamn terrible towel up in the air at 10 a.m. in the fucking morning, ready to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that's it. And that's what you should do too. Stop bitching. Because it ain't all fucking sunshines and rainbows and there's no more Ben and Tomlin did this and Claypool doesn't do this. Shut the fuck up and watch the game. You're a fan for a reason. But we will not win this game, probably. So I'm going to take the Bucs. This is the first time I've bet against the Steelers, and I didn't pick the Steelers. So, I mean, hopefully it comes back to bite me in the ass and we end up 2-4. Who knows? So that's my analysis. There's not much analysis. Once I realize we have no secondary, it's done. It's over. Unless somehow we can control the time of possession, which even then we'd have to score a touchdown, which even then is still shaky 180. All right, next game. I think that's it. Oh, yeah, next game. Panthers versus the fucking Rams. What the fuck, Rams? Mr. Super Bowl champion? Mr. Hey, we got Bobby Wagner now. We don't need Von Miller. Never did. Mr. We got Aaron Donald. Mr. We got Matt Stafford. Mattaholic. The real Matty Ice, right? What the fuck? You guys are the 5th worst rushing team in the league. You average 89.8 yards per game. Garbage. The Rams look like they're in trouble. They just lost to the Dallas Cowboys against a QB who started his third game against him. You guys can't even beat that guy? And don't give me this, well, the Cowboys defense is really good. Yeah, well, the Rams offense is really fucking good too, and they can't do shit. So maybe they're not really good. They should be really good. They were really good last year. They were really good the year before that. They were really, really good when they had Jared fucking Goff calling play calls. But for some reason, right, it all got fucked up. What happened? What happened to the Rams? Is it they got fed last year? They're no longer hungry? All those years, all that hard work, Sean McVay, all that success he's had as a coach, built up into this one strong season last year, and they finally put it together, and it all made sense. Now what? Are you as hungry as you are after you eat a 16-ounce ribeye steak? Just answer the question for yourself. Just answer the question. If you yourself, starving, I can eat. You sit down, eat a 16-ounce ribeye all by yourself. All in one bite. Wash it down with a glass of wine, or hell, maybe you're not even into alcohol. Maybe you finish it with the goddamn DC. Shout out Cooj. But you're not going to be as hungry as you were after you finish that. That's what's going on with the Rams right now. They're not motivated by anything. Motivated for what, coach? We just won the Super Bowl. What do you want, 2? You want 2 of those things? It was hard enough to get 1. Fuck, it took us 2 tries to get 1. You want us to go back? Play a fucking season's worth of excellent fucking detailed, fucking phenomenal execution style, whatever fucking adjective you want to call it, football. You want us to go back and do that again, coach? Well, I'll try. Cooper Kupp's the only guy that I see who's like, yeah, let's go. I want fucking 2. I want 7. I want to be the greatest receiver ever. All the other guys, they're not hungry. They're not. And why would they? Why would they? They just finished a goddamn 16-ounce porterhouse steak, washed it down with a glass of fucking Diet Coke, burped, went to bed, and now they're napping. That's what's going on. Let's get to the game. Panthers are the worst rushing team in the league. They average 62 yards per carry. That's funny, huh? You guys have one of the best running backs in the game. Interesting how that works. You guys suck. Baker Mayfield won't be playing. Won't matter. He's trash too. Little guy named P.J. Walker is going to come walking on the field. How will he do? Who fucking knows? Nobody knows. And it's not because we haven't seen enough of him. We don't know what fucking Rams team's going to show up. Is it going to be the Super Bowl fucking marching down the field Rams? Or is it going to be the sleepy Lions? Right? You know the lions in the jungle, they're taking a nap because they just feasted on a fucking pack of hyenas? That's the Rams team that we seem to see every single weekend since they won the Super Bowl. The Rams give up a lot of rushing yards per game, though. So, I mean, we'll see with that. Rams are on a 2-game losing streak. Panthers are on a 2-game losing streak. What do we think about that? Nothing. Panthers and the Rams, they're both bottom of the league in points per game, which is absolutely remarkable. I mean, I keep going back to this Ram rant, but what the fuck, dude? Like, how? How are you guys not good? It pisses me off because you guys have all the talent in the world and fucking Steelers are over here with fucking James Pierre as our cornerback. No offense to James Pierre, but you guys see what I'm saying here. Fucking lingerers, man. Let's go through the injuries. The Panthers, Cam Akers is out. Or no. Let's switch that up. For the Rams, Cam Akers is out. Aaron Donald's got a questionable decision with a foot injury. Tyler Higbee's questionable with an ankle injury. Cooper Kupp's questionable with a foot injury. Brian Allen, their center's out with a knee injury. David Edwards, their guard, is out with a concussion. So they're not at full capacity at all. On the other side, Baker Mayfield, we already talked about him. He's doubtful. Robbie Anderson's questionable. They got 2 corners that are out and one that's questionable. So I'm just going to roll with the Rams here. They're 10-point favorites. I can see this being a lot closer of a game than 10 points because they play like shit. They play like shit. They look like shit. And I bet you if you got close enough and smelled them, they'd smell like shit. But we're going to roll with the Rams here. The 41.5 points is the over-under. We're going to take the under. This is not going to be a really fun game to watch. But who knows? Who fucking knows nowadays in the NFL? Now, the rest of the games, we got the Cardinals versus the Seahawks. Now, this is an interesting game because what the fuck do we do with the Seahawks who just scored 32 points against the Saints? And you got a guy named Geno Smith who's playing out of his mind football. And then on the other side, the Cardinals, it's like they can't wait to get down by points so they can actually start playing. I swear, every fucking game I watch of the Cardinals, they will go down by like 10 points, and then their offense all of a sudden starts to heat up. They had a chance to win the game last week against the, who were they going against? Let me see. Oh, against Philly. They had a chance to tie the game up at the end of the game. And Kyler Murray, man, if he doesn't slide at the end of that game and he dives forward to get that first down and then they clock it, but then again, they didn't have much time. Yeah, I mean, Cardinals, man, who knows what to think about those guys. They're in every single game they play, but for some reason, they just cannot pull it out. Cardinals, they average 21 points per game. The Seahawks average 25 points per game. God knows how. The Seahawks give up 30 points per game, and the Cardinals give up 24 points per game. What's the over-under on this? 50.5 points. Okay. Take the over. The over is probably going to hit in this one. It's probably the safest bet. It might not hit, but it's definitely your safest bet between these two teams. Let's see. The Cardinals, they only give up 97 rushing yards per game. That's pretty decent. The Seahawks give up 170 rushing yards per game. Holy shit. James Conner's out, though. It's in Seattle. Seattle's on a little bit of a as the city, in terms of the city, Seattle's on a little bit of a momentum shift as the Mariners come in and play the Astros. Depending on who wins this Saturday between the Astros and the Mariners is going to really determine who's going to win this game. I'm going to leave you guys with this. If the Mariners win against the Astros tomorrow, Saturday, the Seahawks will also win. If they lose, the Seahawks will also lose. So that's my pick. That's my pick. Seahawks win if Mariners win. Seahawks lose if Mariners lose. Simple as that. Has nothing to do with the Arizona Cardinals. They're a shit show in themselves. Next game. Okay, we're going to start it off with a rant. Bills versus Chiefs. Why is this not prime time? Why on God's earth would this game not be guaranteed? Whenever the schedule makers are making the schedules, and I don't know how it works. I don't know how it goes. Maybe they just throw up a bunch of fucking names randomly and then it just gets random in order. But as soon as they seen the fucking Bills and Chiefs were going to play each other, why wasn't that a guaranteed primetime game? Why? Instead, we're going to have to see the Cowboys versus the Eagles on primetime. Damn, that only happens 5,000 times a year, it seems like. I've seen more AFC East showdowns in primetime than I've seen my mother. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up, right? That's how many fucking times the Football League, NFL, loves to throw in NFC East for primetime. And I get it. Oh, big market. You got the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, the undefeated. Fuck off. No one wants to see that in primetime. Put the Bills and the Chiefs on there. These are the two best teams in the league. If the Bills aren't winning the Super Bowl, newsflash, the Chiefs are. It's either 1A or 1B, and you got to choose. I don't know who the fuck to choose. Let's look at their injuries. Let's see if we can find some something there. Micah Hyde's out. We know that. Tre'Davious White is out. Jake Kumaro. No one knows who the fuck that is. Jordan Phillips is out for the Bills. On the other side, we got Rashawn Fenton. Corner is out. Treshawn Wharton, D-tackle's out. Brian Cook's out. Man, this is going to be a fucking shootout. What's the over-under? 54. Fuck it, take the over. Take the over between these two. I mean, the Bills or the Chiefs. Ugh. I'm stuck. I'm going to lean towards the Bills because they are still pissed off about what happened in that playoff game last year when they were up by fucking... When they went up with like 15 seconds left and in some fucking way, who knows, the Chiefs ended up coming back with 14 seconds left, getting into field goal range, and then the rest is history. The Bills are still pissed off about that. I'm going to relate this back to what I was saying about the LA Rams. The Chiefs got fed a little bit off of that last year. They're not as hungry to beat the Bills. Hell, maybe the Chiefs want to lose this game, so that way when they do play the Bills, they're in their revenge mode. So I'm going to go the Bills here. I'm going to go the Bills. And there's really no wrong answer here. There's no right or wrong answer. It's like, who's going to score the last point, pretty much. And I think the Bills are. So we're going to go the Bills. And we're going to definitely take the over because these two teams are fucking hot. Like I said, they're the best two teams in the league. We're going to move on to the next matchup, the Cowboys versus the Eagles. And I know some of you guys think, well, how come aren't the Eagles? How come the Eagles are not the best team in the league, TBloom? It's a good question. A lot of it has to do with they're on a prove-it season. And what I mean by that is they need to prove that they can keep this up for a full season. We know the Chiefs can do this. We know the Bills can do this. We know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can do this, or the Green Bay Packers, or all these other teams with all these other quarterbacks have already proved they can maintain a successful season throughout the season. Although the Eagles are playing very well right now, don't get me wrong, they look like they're the best team in the league, potentially. But I just need to see more, right? I just need to see more data. And that's all it is. They can run the ball very well. They can pass the ball pretty well. Not the best, right? But they don't need to be the best. They got a good defense. They're really sound. Good identity. And both their defense and offense complement each other. Whenever one's on, the other's on. So I'm not saying they can't be the best, but I'm sorry, they're not my Super Bowl frontrunner right now. I mean, they can't be. I need to see more. On the other hand, you got the Dallas Cowboys, who somehow are 4-1 without Dak Prescott. Hint, hint, you don't need Dak Prescott. You don't need him, right? Like, you've already seen your team be successful without him. Your team's not going to get that much better with Dak Prescott. I'm sorry. He's a good quarterback. He is. But he is not that much. Like, what you're paying for him, you could be spending money towards some other part of your team. Not saying Cooper Rush is the future by any means, but I'm saying, that you don't need Dak Prescott. You're already 4-1. But when he comes back, they'll be a little bit more scary because of the dynamics he brings. But Cooper Rush he's not doing anything crazy, but he's keeping his team in the game, and he's not making mistakes to keep his team out of the game. Cowboys versus Eagles. And I've been picking the Eagles to lose a couple weeks in a row because I thought they're going to fall down to earth. And I'm going to pick it one more time. I'm going to go against the Eagles one last time on a prove-it deal. If they can prove to me they can beat the Cowboys in prime time at Philly, I'll pick them next week. And I don't even know who they're going against. I will pick them to win next week, and I will have no problem doing that. But right now, I'm going to roll with the Dallas Cowboys to win. What's the over and under in this game? I bet it's like 42 or something. What is it? Oh, it's exactly 42. Wow. TBloom. TBloom knows best. Let's go with the under. I think it's going to be like 17-14 Cowboys. Maybe an ugly score like 18-11. It's a good year. Actually, I don't think it was. Isn't there a war in 1811? Never mind. On to the next game, the Monday night game of them all. Everyone's been looking forward to watching this team play on primetime for the fourth time this year. The greatest team in NFL history with the number one offense in the game, the Denver Broncos. The 2022 Denver Broncos. That's right. Let's fucking ride, brother. Russell Wilson, did you guys watch the post-game press conference he had? Rumor has it he was in the locker room for about an hour or so in his pads, looking down, contemplating not only life, but goddamn, what am I doing here? After that, he gets up, rises, goes to the press conference, speaks, gives his usual, we trust in the coaching, we trust in the play calling, all we got to do is believe, Russell, win, win, win. And then he ends it with this. For somehow, thanks for subscribing. Don't know how that happened. Somehow, some way, he manages to sneak in a Broncos Nation. Let's ride. He's like walking away and he says, let's ride. I think he's getting paid to say that. I think Russell Wilson gets paid to say that anytime he's in any kind of certain media. He has to say that at least once, because that was not the time to say let's ride Bronco Nation, because you lost the game for him, Russ. You threw a fucking pick to Stephon Gilmore on a post route that was late as shit. Then on the game, the play of the game, the 4th and 1 where you needed to convert, you miss a wide open slant over the middle. I mean, and that's something we've never seen from Russ in Seattle. And it irks me. It really does, because these Seattle fans think they're so fucking good. And did you guys watch what Richard Sherman said? How happy he was to see Russell fail? That has probably been brewing for years now. Richard Sherman could not wait to harp on fucking Russell Wilson's loss. Talking about, you should have ran, which I'm not going to get into all that. That was years ago, but hilarious. Nonetheless, back to the game. Denver Broncos versus the Chargers. Give me the Chargers, man. I mean, I can't fucking sit here and honestly think that the Denver Broncos have any kind of chance to beat them, because they look like ass. But at the same time, the Chargers love to play down the competition, right? Love to barely beat the Browns by 2. Love to do this and do that. So, Yeah, give me the Chargers. What's the over-under in this game? It can't be more than 42. It really can't. 45.5. I'll take the under for sure. For sure. Not even close. Let's see who's all hurt. Keenan Allen's questionable. Wow, the Broncos got a couple guards who are questionable. I don't think any of those are going to matter. Give me the Chargers. Give me Justin Herbert to handle it. Win the game at home, even though they don't really have home field advantage because LA doesn't have home field advantage. But yeah, boom. So there it is. There's week 6, my picks, my takes, my ins, my outs, my ups, and my downs. I will always be riding for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You will not see this face. We could go 0-16, and I will show up every single goddamn week with a goddamn terrible towel to the left of me, or yeah, my left, you're right, and a goddamn Steeler flag, boom, I got to get better at this, right beside me. And that's going to do it, folks. Thank you for listening to another episode of the TBloom Talk Show. I promise you, any comment, any like, any subscription, even if it's bad, even if it's, you don't like my take, I don't give a fuck. Send it. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for listening. TBloomaholics, you're the best fans in the nation. TBloom Nation, I will never disappoint you. Thank you for watching again. And you guys have a good goddamn NFL Sunday. Oh, and by the way, I also do MMA podcasts. I haven't been able to do them recently because so much is going on in the NFL. But this weekend, UFC 283, I believe. Let me look that up. I believe it's UFC 283. It's a big one, guys. If you don't watch MMA or you don't, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, this is the card you do not want to miss. Yes, you're going to have to pay for it, but trust me, it'll definitely be worth it. Let's see. It might be 280. I think it's UFC 280. Sorry, guys. I should get better at this. Nope, that's not it. Nope. Oh, and it's actually next weekend. Sorry, next weekend. Maybe I will do a podcast. UFC 280, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev. It's going to be a fucking barn burner. You also got TJ Dillashaw, Aljamain Sterling, Peter Yan, Sean O'Malley. I think I'll do a podcast for you guys. We'll do an MMA-style podcast. I'll bring in my good friend JC. We'll give you all our topics, news, and stuff with all that. Anyway, TBloom Nation, you guys have a great one. I love you. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, I don't know. I need a slogan to close out. Have a good day, guys. Love you.